Alright, what is up everybody? We continue on our journey with Frieren Beyond Journey's End. We bid farewell to Zine in the previous episode, and we move on. We move on to the magical city, where we hopefully will get our first class mage certificate, whatever that we need to pass. Otherwise, Frieren is going to be mistaken for a back alley mage doctor. Let us jump straight into it. First class mage exam, huh?
あれが北側諸国最大の魔法都市オイサーストか。
Oisas. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right.
昔から北部高原はアインザームみたいな狡猾な魔法を使う魔物が多いからね。
Beautiful wide shots. Oh, look at this landscape though. Really cool to see that the city is like in the center of the lake.
フェルンの話だと実践もあるみたいだし。
Oh, there's a combat
そ
test.
こを考えないと。
Zoltrak!
制限している状態でも熟練のローマ法使いくらいの魔力が出ていますよ。ローマ法使いっていうの。
That simplified reaction face from Frieren there.
シュタルクがクソババアって言ったことも忘れてない。オイサーストに着いたら起こして。もう。
That's quite an angle.
やっぱりいいや。
あ、どうしたんだい。
空が半分しか。私は今までの人生で自分より魔力の低い魔法使いに11回負けたことがある。
Oh.
一人は私と同じエルフ。
One was an elf.
そろそろ伯爵領の町が見えてくるかな。
Well, well, well.
あれ、もしかしてまた盗賊？せっかくアウラが討伐されて平和になったっていうのに。
Hmm. Now that Aura has been defeated, word has spread fast. Yes! Yes! Ah, it's great to see him again. Kraft the monk.
私は魔法使いユーベル。
Yubel.
人殺しの目をしているな。
Hmm.
俺はお前を助けたわけではない。近くの森に切り刻まれた盗賊の死体があった。
Oh. Are you accusing her?
自衛のための殺しにケチをつけるほど頭は固くない。
Self-defense.
目的地はオイサースとか。
うん。一級魔法使いの試験を受けにね。
Of course.
フリーレンもそんなことを言っていたな。
Hey, glad that Kraft remembers that.
次会った時の土産話が楽しみだ。
That's gonna be the last time we see Kraft for... Yeah.
受験資格に5級以上の魔法使いの資格が必要になります。
フェルン、任せたから。
フリーレン様、私一人じゃ無理です。
いけるって。正常な証じゃ無理だよね。
Holy emblem. That guy knows.
ちょっと君、それ見せてもらってもいいかな。
Yeah. Well, definitely caught his eye.
無事参加できそうだね。
Hmm.
それ、すごいものなんですか？そのはずなんだけどね。
Oh. Nice transition there.
何この錆びた首飾り。知ってる？全然。
Nobody knows.
フリーレン。確かに僕たちはその首飾りのことは知らない。でも、僕たちは君がすごい魔法使いであることを知っている。それでいいじゃないか。
Isn't that enough?
でもすぐ死んじゃうじゃん。
Well, that's a hard way to put it, but yeah, basically.
私たちはフリーレン様がすごい
Oh,
魔法使いであることを
same words and all. Head
そうだ
pats.
ね。
More head pats. Yes.
合格者が出ない年も多い。
No
当た
one
り前の
passes
よ
the
うに死
test.
傷者も出ている。
Huh. Hence why there's only 45 first class mages.
魔王軍の構成が激化した100年前だったら、街を歩けば魔法使いとすれ違うのが当たり前だったからね。今だとこういう魔法としてもないと見かけない。
Guess you don't need to be a first class mage when, again, like the threat of the Demon King and his army has been very much neutered at this point. Yeah, makes sense. That is a big ass cake. Frieren, that's you're not even in the same bed. How did you get there?
今年はなかなか粒揃いですな。史上最年少で3級試験をトップの成績で。
Love that Fern is getting recognition here.
3級魔法使い。
Like they acknowledge her.
試験官の1級魔法使いを殺害し。
Ah, you will fail 2 years ago.
ユーベル3級魔法使い。
Oh, because interesting. She killed the first class mage. Huh.
熟練のローマ法使いみたいな魔力してる人いる。あれ誰？
知らん。
Surprised that not a lot of people know about Frieren.
第2パーティーといったところか。
Alright, cool. Let's meet our new party members.
くせ者揃いの魔法使いを集めた即席のパー
I
ティ
love
ー
how
で
Frieren just
まともな連携を
sticks out like a
取
sore
る
thumb
のが難しい
against like everybody else there. Spot the main character.
電話の反応はここらへん。 もうけ
My reaction exactly. Oh, Frieren's with Ubel. Ooh. Interesting pairing.
明日の日没までにシュティレの入ったカゴを所持していること。その時点でパーティーメンバー全員が揃っていることだ。
Alright, Frieren. Time to babysit again.
区域を囲むように塵一つ通さないような強力な結界を張ってお
Bro,
いたら
Frieren's
よく言う
face
ぜ
here is... really good.
まだ喧嘩している。
Frieren's like, I'm doomed.
私はフリーレン。よろしくね。
ラビーネ、3級魔法使い。
Lawine.
カンネだよ。
Lawine and Kane.
同じ魔法学校の出身だよ。
Yeah. Thought that they would be like close friends. Hence the fighting. I love these faces and especially the hard cuts to them.
よくやったラビーネ。じゃあよく観察して。
Okay.
逃げられるの？
いや、上出来だぜカンネ。
Oh, okay. I apologize. Yeah, not bad at all.
最大飛行速度は音速を超える。あの程度の高速じゃ無意味だよ。
Of course, it's not an ordinary bird. It's a fantasy bird.
カンネが水を操り、ラビーネがそれを
Yeah, they make a nice combo. I mean, they have been friends for quite a while, right?
それより湖の周りを。なんでだよ、早く行った
ダメだ。
方がいいだろ。
また喧嘩してる。
Frieren's expression never gets old. It never gets old.
何か音が。
I hear it too. Something crawling or something.
小さいけど雨音だ。
Or rain.
あ、
Oh, right. Because of the... Right.
ってことはもしかして。
Okay. That's a big bird. Frieren's not in bed, so she's awake. Oh. Whose magic is this?
空には気をつけろって言ったでしょ。
Of course, she did ask you to watch the sky, but she couldn't detect mana as well, right? At least compared to characters that we know.
先行った連中、
Oh, beautiful
あん
shot.
な遠くに行っちまったぞ。本当は臆病なくせに頑張っているところ。お前のいいところだよ。
Hmm.
隠れてたくさん努力しているところ、周りのことをよく見ていて気遣いができるところ。
Kane needs some form of confirmation.
笑っている顔が可愛いところ。
Oh, that's cute.
え、キモい。
She was good job, but
ところでフリーレン、私面白いことに気がついたんだけど。
what did you notice?
なるほど。もしかしたらシュティレを簡単に捉えられるかも。
Oh, that episode flew by. Flew by. And so we begin our new adventure at, hopefully I'm pronouncing this right, Oisas. The magic city capital, whatever, where we are about to take our exams, or specifically Frieren and Fern is about to take their exams. Stark, on the other hand, I don't know what they're gonna do with Stark in this I guess new arc, since this is kind of a magic centric arc, and Stark isn't really a mage or somebody who is attuned with magical powers. No, he's a warrior. So I don't know what they're gonna do with Stark. Like, hopefully he's not going to get sidelined, even though I think that's gonna happen, and obviously his role is about to be replaced by a bunch of other new characters that are interesting to say the least in terms of like their designs. We'll talk about them later in a bit, though I can see them doing an instance where Stark is going to be, like staying in the inn or whatever place that they're going to be staying throughout this entire exam, and just maybe honing his skills in the meantime while Fern and Frieren takes the exam, maybe comes back, meet with Stark, tell him what happens, and then, catching things up here and there. So I can see that happening, but on a whole, I do feel like we're not going to be focusing on Stark that much, because we kind of got a lot of Stark focused episodes in the previous in the first half of the show, and it's not like a show cannot just sideline a main character. No, a lot of shows have done this before plenty of times, especially when, especially when the moment or when the story doesn't need that character to begin with. I mean, I'm thinking of like Hunter x Hunter, for example, because I'm currently rewatching Hunter x Hunter, but Hunter x Hunter is that example of we have 4 main characters, and sometimes these 4 main characters, they're not always going to be on screen together. There's going to be long arcs where we're only going to be focusing on like maybe 2 of them, and the other ones will, be in a different place, and we're never going to be seeing them for like 20, 40 episodes. Like, that can happen, and it can work. So in regards to Stark, while I am just judging based on like first episode basis on this new arc, unless the previous episode counts as the new arc as well, but you know what I mean. While we're still in the beginning of the episode, I do want to talk just a little bit about Frieren's little discussion about the people who Frieren failed to defeat, or at least the ones who won against Frieren in combat, in a magic fight. Frieren specifically told us like the number of the different enemy types, I guess, if you will. They don't always have, they don't necessarily have to be enemies, by the way. They can also just be, like adversaries, or just a sparring competition, if you will. Like, one elf, that was the thing that got me the most. One elf, one specific elf. We rarely see any elves in this entire show, like rarely. Like, the show itself pretty much already establishes that elves are kind of a dying species. Like, they are a dying kind. They are going extinct. So that kind of narrows a lot of possibilities down, right? Now, I do wonder if we are going to be meeting that elf in this arc. That can be possible, because I do see an elf or 2, I guess, in the opening. So I do wonder, like, is that going to be her? Or are we going to be seeing another one? Somebody who isn't really in the opening, and then it's just going to be a surprise. I don't know. I guess we shall see. One of the humans that Frieren, I guess, how many humans did Frieren says? Like something around like 6 or whatever. But I'm gonna guess one of them could be her master, like Flame. Like they can have, like I can imagine like the both of them having a a fighting competition, if you will, right? Just training, and goes to show like how much Flame is more powerful than Frieren during that time. But beyond that, not much that I was interested at in terms of like who else did Frieren fought. But it's just that the one elf was kind of that grabbed my attention. It's nice to see Kraft the monk again in this episode, though very, very briefly. I don't think we're gonna be meeting Kraft again anytime soon. Like this is just a chance encounter where we do happen to meet Kraft, and it's not from like our party member's perspective. No, it's from somebody else's perspective, a new character's perspective, right? And that is, of course, I hope I'm pronouncing this right again. Ubel. Translation wise, not a good name. Not a good name as in she's bad. She's bad. I mean, evil. Hello. I mean, design wise, she does look kind of bad though. But interesting that we do meet this character as, I guess, the first major character outside of our main characters in this new arc for this specific exam. Because later on, we do see that she is going to be with Fern, and that's going to be an interesting dynamic. We'll talk about that. But one thing that kind of grabbed my attention again, at least for her character, is this specific part. I don't know if you guys can see my mouse moving here, but this specific, I guess, emerald piece, not diamond, I just said emerald, but like this emerald stone or whatever this is that is hanging by her staff, because that is reminding me of like Frieren's I guess ruby or red necklace, not necklace, earrings, which we don't see in the past, but we do see those similar earrings be worn by Flame again. And I don't know, maybe I'm just like going into this a bit too far. Maybe it's just for, aesthetic purposes or reasons, but there's something about these stones in this show, especially ones that are kind of attuned to mages. And I just want to know like what it is and what the reason is. Like it could just be for like aesthetic purposes, like design wise. Look, it's emerald. She's green, so it matches her color perfectly, which is fine. It's a cool detail nonetheless. But yeah, something that definitely kind of grabbed my attention there just for a bit. Doesn't have to mean anything, but the fact that it did grab my attention kind of shows like, yeah, that's a good addition to her character design. Now jumping forward just a bit, for this specific moment, this specific scene and shot, I love how this is basically the same city. Like I was kind of wondering about that, like when I was watching the episode, but I didn't want to comment on it because it could just be like a random city and they just kind of match like the position of the characters and the angles as well when we were going into the flashback. But no, the flashback is of the city of hang on, let me try to pronounce it right again. Asus. No, that's the brand name. Because like if we go just a bit further, like focus on like these walls, for example, like this little archway in the wall, right? Because if we go into the past, it's the same thing. It's just being covered heavily by the trees and such. And I just love the detail of like, yeah, this is what this city looks like in the past compared to like how it looks like in the present right now. Like it's really, I guess, modernized in a way, right? Far more industrial and the even like the architecture and the landscape has changed. Like the walls are now they're not really walls anymore because some of them are kind of crumbled and kind of got fused in with the other buildings and such. Good stuff, just good stuff. Also curious to know like what the significance of Frieren's necklace is. This like emblem that she's wearing that is, as Frieren says, the only way or the only thing that makes her a mage, I guess, quote unquote, officially through the lens of other people. Like, this is the only way that people know that I am a mage. I do wonder, like, what this is actually about. Like, is this like an old memento of Flame, or is this something else? Could it be important? Could it not be important? I don't know. Does it have to be important? Not really. I don't really need to know about this. Like, I feel like the mystery of it and like the ancient how do I describe it? Like the historic aura, if you will. I don't know how else to describe it. I feel like is like enough for me to go, yeah, cool little lore, world building, cool little artifact. I don't need to know it, but I would love if the show explains it to me more in the future. So that's like the thing that I'm kind of interested at like the significance, because we do see, like, earlier in the episode when they were trying to get into the exam, one of the older mages, it seemed, kind of got fixated by this pendant, right? By this emblem. He was like, whoa, wait a minute, where did you get that? And then he allows Frieren to take part into the exam. So like there is some significance. We just don't know what it is yet. So let's just put a pin on this for the time being. Love the aesthetics of this library, if you will. I don't know if this is actually a library or just like a section of the main building, but it just looks cool, aesthetically pleasing. I mean, it's just a library, but it's a fantasy library, so it gets a +1 point from me. It seems that Frieren is also celebrating her birthday. Don't know how old she is now, but very old. But that's a very big cake, and I like the show. I like the show's like just overall running gag of having really large and unrealistic proportion food. But it's nice to see Frieren, Frieren's birthday being celebrated. I don't know if this is actually Frieren's birthday. I'm just assuming that it is, because birthday and candles equals birthday cake, Fern and Stark clapping. The signs are there, right? I just feel like after what we have seen before in regards to like Fern and Stark having their birthdays and how we spend their birthdays and how we develop their characters during their birthdays, I don't know, part of me just felt like I would have wanted like an episode just focusing entirely on Frieren's birthday and how Stark and Fern kind of celebrated. But you know what? This is completely fine. That's just like what my personal want, but not necessarily what I need. Because what I need is Frieren making these faces throughout the second half of the show. But we're jumping a bit ahead here, because in this specific scene as well, we are introduced to a lot of interesting characters. And when I say interesting characters, I mean interesting character designs that stand out against all of the other normal people in the show. But, that's how it goes. And I'm sure we'll meet these characters more in future episodes. We're just kind of setting them up. We're just naming names. We're just calling out their names and seeing their designs for like a frame or two, and then that's pretty much it. But Yubel, on the other hand, evil, bad. But Bad Girl here, on the other hand, she did a very naughty thing, which is basically killed a first-class mage the last time? And that is insane. Hang on. She was able to kill the first-class mage. I mean, look, obviously Frieren is probably the most powerful character in the show so far. The only reason why a lot of people are able to get to her is because Frieren is literally suppressing her mana and her powers. Like, she is debuffing herself. She is making it easier for other people. But when Frieren lets loose, when Frieren lets go of her mana and just completely overwhelms them, they're gone. They're dead. Rest in peace, Aura. But having said all that, kind of crazy to think about it, right? Because Frieren has made it a real deal. Like they're making a big deal out of the fact that only like 45 or so people in the world are officially first-class mages. Right, officially. There's bound to be others who never took the test, so they never got an official license. But still, though, only 45 are officially first-class mages because the test apparently is really hard. Also, apparently a lot of people just basically died during the test, so that's why there hasn't been a first class mage in years. So Ebel here, Ebel, Ubel here, having the ability to kill one of these, I think that kind of sets like the bar, or at least that kind of attunes her power scale, I guess, to us, the audience. Like, okay, we know that she is powerful. We know that she's bad news. We gotta look out for her. Does that mean that she's evil necessarily? No, even though her name says otherwise, even though the meaning of her name, but we can ignore that. Does that mean that she's good? Not necessarily, no. I would consider her to be the worthy adversary for Frieren in the future, like a foil to the main character. She's going to be, in a way, like the antagonist of this arc, but not necessarily evil in nature. Though I could be biting my own ass here, and I could be completely wrong, and she may as well just be like, "Oh, I'm the descendant of the Demon King, and I'm here to enact evil upon you." Like joking, of course, but still, though, interesting character that I cannot wait to see next, especially since she is being paired with Fern. Fern being the probably like one of the most, well, I was about to say cutest, but not really. She is cute, but one of the most pure-hearted and kindest person ever, unless she's dealing with Stark. This is going to be a very interesting dynamic. Like, I'm curious to see like if we're gonna get, scenes where Ebel is gonna do some evil things, and then Fern's gonna go, "No, you can't do that. That's wrong." And then Ebel goes, "Yeah, but we're winning and we're succeeding in the exams. So don't you want to succeed in the exams? Gotta play dirty if you want to win." And of course, once again, like, I am just assuming, right? I mean, anything can go, anything can change, but I'm getting that sort of dynamic between them. Curious about the guy, though. Like, I want to know, like, what he's about to do and what he brings to the table for this team specifically. Now, Team Frieren here. What a doozy. We got introduced to 2 more new characters. We got introduced to Kane and Lawine. Interesting characters, I will say. Interesting characters. We're gonna be stuck with these characters for a while. I don't think we're gonna be stuck with them forever, or at least forever in this arc specifically. Like, there's chances where we're gonna be mixing and matching between other side characters here, right? Like other teams joining up again, with ourselves and other teams as well. You know the drill. Like, look, this is a pretty common and I'm not gonna say cliche, but this is a formula that I would say many others have seen before, right? This is in a way, it's kind of a tournament arc, right? It's an arc where a bunch of people are gonna be competing in a tournament, I guess. Like, I don't know what I was going there. Like, it's a pretty easy way to describe this. It's basically a tournament arc. But Kane and Luine's relationship, I guess, their dynamic interests me, because it's clear that not only do they have a friendly rivalry, but they also have an interesting past, or I guess a mysterious past for us, the audience, for me, because I want to know what is the deal between them. Like, what are their actual relationship? Like, how long have they met each other? How do they feel about each other? Are they actually in love? Or are they just suppressing that idea and just playing around with it? The show, I mean. I don't know, but I am kind of interested to see like these characters, and I want to see like where they go from now. I think Frieren so far has done an excellent job at showing new characters along our journey and giving them interesting history and interesting characterization and conflict, especially the characters that ended up being with us for maybe more than 1 episode, but especially since we are going to be spending time with these characters for probably more than a couple of episodes by now. Yeah, I'm curious, very curious. I mean, Kane's character herself already showcases like some interesting internal conflict, I would say. Like, the character obviously has some self-doubt. She doesn't trust herself. She actively asks for her friend to, hey, praise me. not in a way to, like, haha, praise me, yeah. No, she is asking her to praise her because she wants affirmation, right? She wants confirmation that, yeah, I'm a good person, right? I have these powers, right? I'm strong, right? Like, I have abilities, right? I have positive traits, right? You gotta tell me. You gotta tell me that I am a good person. And that alone already made me go, let's see where this goes. So yeah, overall, fantastic episode. Love this new introduction to characters and introduction to these tournaments, if you will, because this is the first of many, I would imagine. Like catching a bird. This is easy compared to like what could come in the future. Like we're talking about, like, I'm thinking about like major dungeon battles or fight a dragon. Like, again, anything can go now. So we shall see. I was kind of debating if I wanted to watch like the second episode immediately, but I've also realized that these new episodes, or at least the new episodes of this new arc, obviously we're going to be introducing to a bunch of new characters and a bunch of new ideas and a bunch of new things, and I feel like I'm going to be talking about them a lot more. So I would rather just stick with the one episode reaction, because obviously I do think that by the time that I watch the next episode, they're going to be introducing new things. We're probably going to be shifting gears and shifting perspectives to Fern and Ebel and the other side characters. So there's going to be a lot more to talk about then. So for now, let's just see where or what the idea that kind of the device that she told to Frieren that the show didn't tell the audience. So we are left in suspense. Like, what are they planning? We don't know, but we shall see in the next episode. Talking in their sleep. The difference between when they were awake and when they're sleeping, like, yeah. Oh, first battle against a dragon. Yeah. Always holding his hands too.
自然体でいいですよ。こういうのはきっと冒険の仲間ごとに変わってくるものです。
Somebody call. Of course.
やっと捕まえられましたね。
Of course.
これから先の方が大変なんだよ。
Somebody could steal it, right?
ティレを
Yeah.
他のパーティーに奪われないように守らなければならない。
Exactly.
愛人戦の時間だ。
Jesus.
大量の水でもすぐに操れるんだけど、でも水に魔力を込めたら魔力に敏感なシュティレは絶対に寄ってこないだろうね。
But interesting the way they're showing that. Like, the stele is right there, probably because it didn't sense any ill intent from her.
確かに悪くはねえが、リスクが高えな。他のパーティー全員に喧嘩を売ることになるぜ。
Oh, well, that's a problem. There's the face again. But it is interesting to note that, as Frieren said, every party is different. The fourth party here probably had magic or whatever equivalent to catch it easily, whereas with Frieren's party, it's probably a lot more difficult, right?
確か中央に湖があったはずだ。
Well, we know what party is close to the lake now.
これってさ、道だと思っていたけれども、枯れた川だよね。
塵すら通さない強力な対物理結界だよ。
Right, so once the barrier is out. Yeah. The river flows.
私たちは水を持ち歩けます。でも、同じ生き物であるシティレはそうはいかない。
And there it is. Probably the reason why Frieren saw like 3 birds within the vicinity.
それ衛生的にどうなの？
Reflexes. Her expression, though. Was that? Yeah. Well, well, well. Yeah, picking a fight with every team. And a bunch of them are already in the lake
他のパーティー全員を敵に回すつもりか。
just to get one bird. This party, though,
第2パーティーから奪うぞ。
definitely feels more. The party that feels more mature than everybody else, age-wise.
あっちだ。
それに気がついた連中が他の水場を探しているようだが、魔力探知が甘すぎる。
Their powers are inadequate. A bit of exposition-y, but then again, we're also showing like the difference in the teams and how they think and how they operate, right? As I mentioned, this team. Oh,
魔物にやられた。
monsters. Okay. Thought it was another team that killed them, you know, like.
もう死んでいる。
But yeah, this team, especially from, especially Denken here, definitely smart.
ガイゼル。こいつらはそうやって次の獲物を誘って狩りをする。
Scary man.
この程度で死ぬ奴は一級魔法使いにはいらない
Basically.
ということだ。
It's a real test, right?
魔王軍と戦っていた時代の強く誇り高い
Ooh, look at this, though.
未だに夢見ている連中がいるのさ。
The bird just casually being there.
あんたくらい弱いのがちょうどいいってわけだ。
As weak
言ってくれる
as you.
若造が。
Yeah, watch your tongue. I'm not getting any weak vibes from him at all, but.
わずかだが水に魔力が込められている。
Ah. Right. Right. I did mention about like their powers.
こんなことして何が。
It's trying to concentrate every still into a single place, right? Yeah. It's a long workaround, but Frieren and her party definitely has a pretty good idea here.
行けや泉に手当たり次第に魔力を込めてきたよ。
There we go. Now it's just a matter of actually capturing them. Ooh. Every animal is gonna come here. I just noticed that, yeah, it's not just gonna be the still, isn't it? It's gonna be every animal. Even the big one. Yeah, but very similar to one of the test instructors or whatever. Well. Feathers of a stille. Well, yeah, you gotta protect it now.
いや、
見つけた。やはり魔法を使いよった。
How did he sense that? Classic anime powers.
ジュベラード。
Whoa! Turning flowers or any object into needles is quite a handy power.
洗練されていて隙がないけれど古い戦い方だ。
But it's old. I mean, we know why.
戦闘では基礎的な魔法以外は使わないように言われてますから、この時代の魔法使いならそれだけで十分だと。
If it ain't broken, keep using them. Also shows a level of mastery, right? If you can use basic skills against more advanced skills.
多分殺されちゃうわよ。そうですか。
Ah. Oh, that is... They just end the episode. She always has that look on her face, like her expression just never changes for these past few episodes. It's scary. Like, that level of confidence?
どうした？追撃しねえのか？
少し暴れすぎたかな。
And he's overconfident.
今ビアベルと戦ってる子、多分殺されちゃうわよ。
Doubt it. Doubt it. Spam attack her.
これだけの数の攻撃魔法を一度に操るなんて。
Yeah, spam attack her.
吐ききれない。
I mean, Fern is also scary. Let's not forget about the fact that she was handling a bunch of demons, a few episodes ago. Oh boy. Interesting. Kind of a similar spell to Frieren. that was quick.
戦場でも同じようなことをした奴らはいたぜ。そいつらは全員殺しを楽しむ変態だった。
Kind of like her. But this is an interesting convo between the two of them. Because they feel like similar characters.
人ってのは人の弱い部分をよく知ってる。戦争に女子供を駆り出すなんて悪魔の所業は
Whoa.
北の果てじゃ日常だ。
But war is war, huh? Who's watching them? Nice use of a long shot, I suppose. Building suspense and tension.
俺はためらい臆することはあっても、必要な殺しは全部やってきたぜ。
Really now?
動かないでください。
Oh. Oh.
全く気配がしなかった。
Mana concealment.
シティレのねぐらを見つけて、その子は鳥を捕まえる魔法を師匠から教わっていた。
エーレと戦っていたな。あいつはどうした？
殺しました。
The twitch in his eyes. I don't know if Fern actually did it though. I don't think so.
嘘上手じゃん。
It's not her character to do it. Meanwhile, though,
我流の人って基礎がおろそかになっていることが多いんだよね。
interesting. Created his own spell, as it seems.
多分僕の勝ちだ。
I'll probably win.
君、魔力探知苦手でしょ。
Duplicates? Okay. Okay. Okay.
いつから？最初からだよ。
Since the beginning. What a cool way to reveal his powers, though. Like, even fooling the audience, because we don't know.
平然と嘘つきやがって。
一般攻撃魔法の物量で押し切られたわ。
Spam attack. Holy shit.
だが一般攻撃魔法だけでこれほどの芸当ができるとしたら。
Yeah, could you imagine advanced magic?
歩けないんだけど。
仕方ねえな。
Carry her like in the opening. There we go.
おいシャルフ、エーレを運ぶの手伝って。
The butterflies as well. Oh, he's crying.
音符してくれ。しびれて動け。
Okay. Whirlpool literally carrying the team behind his back.
その優しさがあなたが魔族と戦う理由なのかしら。
Probably for atonement.
あなたは私の村も救ってくれたわ。
Redeeming himself.
4つか5つのガキの頃の話だ。もう顔も名前も覚えちゃいねえ。
Damn. He's pretty old now. Mid-30s?
私のおじいちゃん紹介しようか。一級魔法使いだから陸路で。ね、ビアベル。
Still? Yeah.
これは殺し合いではない。
消えた。フリーレン、シティレが。
Shit. Yeah, she's beginning to feel her presence now every time she moves. Frieren, I mean.
結界の中は雨でも快適だな。
そういえば第二次試験の試験官はお前だったな。全然。
Sensei.
それにしても人が悪い。魔法使いの試験に魔力探知が通用しない。
I like that we are showing that the testers are so skilled that the birds can easily just be with them with no fear at all.
魔力の痕跡を残しすぎた。お前なら容易に追
Oh,
跡で
he
きるは
knows.
ずだ。フリーレン。わしらの世代でその名を知らぬ魔法使いなどいない。
Our generation. As in his generation. Probably hundreds of years, right? Considering the age of a dwarf.
デンケンがお前の足止めをしている間に、俺がそっちのガキ二人、どちらかを殺す。
やめろ、リヒター。わしらは足止めができればそれでいい。
Yeah, Denkin said we're not here to kill. We're here to win.
宮廷魔法使いだろ。生徒を消したことだって一度や二度じゃないはずだ。
An Imperial Mage. Not sinister at all.
大魔法使いゼーリエは
Oh. Ah. Okay.
だから彼女は一級魔法使いの座についた者に特権を与えることを約束した。
I mean, we first saw her in this pose in the first opening.
ゼーリエは人類の歴史上のほぼ全ての魔法を網羅する。
Older than Frieren?
この地上で全知全能の女神様に最も近い魔法使いだ。
たかがガキ二人だ。たった3時間寝かしつけるだけ。
I wonder if Richter's ability is like earth magic or something. You know, Richter scale.
バルグラント。
Or an earthquake. The end of Alright. And that was Frieren episodes 19 and 20. I was this close. I was this close continuing with episode 21, but if I did continue with episode 21 and I have to edit a 3-episode batch of episodes for YouTube, yeah, the copyright is not gonna like that. I mean, editing one episode itself is already kind of struggling and trying to dodge the copyright system. Editing 2, 3, ugh. So I'm stopping at 2 episodes for now, but an interesting set of episodes, that is for sure, because we are continuing from the previous episode, from episode 18, where we are beginning and we're starting our mage exams, and here we're kind of more so exploring the other teams, the other teams, which is the theme of these 2 episodes. That's why I was kind of mixing up the 2 words. And I do like how in episode 19, we start with Frieren reminiscing about, the old party member, the good old days, and how pretty much laying out the groundwork for these 2 episodes in that these teams, every member, every group, they're all different. Like, no team is the same, right? There's no similarities. There's always going to be different combinations. There's always going to be different vibes. I'm trying to think of words here. There are many ways a team or a group of people will handle certain situations. In the case of these 2 episodes, we have a goal. Obviously, we need to catch a bird, and since the bird is elusive and ties heavily with the use, or I guess the clever masking of magic because of, mana and such, that we get different dynamics and different approaches to catch the bird. And I do love how we are kind of contrasting the fact that Frieren and her team wasn't able to catch the bird, yet Fern and her team already did in the beginning of episode 19. While they do kind of admit that luck kind of plays into all of this, but I would like to see this as the show or the story just kind of cheekily telling us that Fern, in some cases or in certain fields, surpassing her master, right? I mean, look, Frieren, obviously, if given the right, moment, team, party members, and certain conditions, if you will, I'm sure she is able to catch it easily, which, at the end of the day, she did, but I would love to see, I would like to, to look at this as a way to showcase that Fern, being the one who was able to get the bird first before Frieren, shows both growth and, I guess, skill development, I guess. And I do love how these 2 episodes, again, like I mentioned in the beginning of this review, kind of showcases how each of the different teams handle the situation differently. In the case of Team Frieren here, using the specialized powers of the 2 girls of Lawine and Kane here. A bit overkill to freeze the entire lake, the source of life, basically, right? Because we kind of need water here to live. But it is that showcase of, okay, how do we handle this situation? Because obviously, her character specializes in freezing water, the other character specializes in other thing. We can't really achieve what we wanted to do using conventional approaches. Like, we can't just get to the bird head on. No, we need to lure them out in some way, right? And solution appears, right? And again, like, contrasting this with the other team members, like let's say with Denkin's team, for example, like they're playing the long game, right? Where they know that they can get the bird, or at least it seems like they can. We don't know yet. I mean, that's kind of like episode 21 at this point, right? Because we end episode 20 with the initial fight, but we get to see like how they're playing the more cunning game. Denkin being, apparently, as the 2 episodes kind of show us, being an imperial mage, somebody who lived in, I guess, the empire, or at least the capital city of the empire, right? Having a far more political and subtle approach, if you will, because at the end of the day, it's more so about making sure that I am the one who gets the most gain, if you will, right? Obviously, you want to be the one who is, the more advantageous. If you're trying to, have a diplomatic negotiation, obviously you're trying to sneak your way in to make sure that at the end of the deal, you're the one who is gaining the upper hand regardless, right? That's kind of like the smart play. And I do love how Denkin's team is basically just watching from the sidelines, right? They're kind of observing, and they're trying to learn and analyze the other team members, knowing their strengths and weaknesses, and then they formulate their own plan. And okay, how do we get that? Okay, how do we take advantage? How do we twist them? And but it's also a matter of making sure that not going overkill, if you will. It's also a matter of keeping to your principles. I do love that by the end of episode 21, he confronts Frieren, but it's not about killing her. It's just about making a statement that, hey, I'm here to get the bird. I don't want any trouble. I don't want any harm. I don't want to kill you or anything. But I do want a bird. I do want that bird. And it's making these deals and making these negotiations, pushing it almost to the limit, but not enough to incite major killing intent, if you will. Because I mean, look, we know that Frieren, if she wants to kill somebody, she is absolutely going to kill somebody, right? So it's teetering in the balance of, let's not take her too much. Let's not aggregate her to the point where she will see us as a threat worth killing, but we do want to make our presence known. So it's that nice little balance between the two, because ultimately patience is the key to all of this. I mean, look, patience, time. I don't need to go further into into that whole deal, because obviously we've been kind of talking about that throughout this entire series, but specifically for capturing the bird, right? It's all about patience. It's all about waiting and not really making your presence known, right? It's all about keeping a low profile and basically not to incite any bad intentions. I mean, Frieren is just sitting here, letting nature just, take its time. I do love that we do see like a bunch of animals, and especially like the big bird that kind of killed the poor, unfortunate, mages that were kind of partaking into this exam. But then eventually the bird kind of comes in, Stile comes in, and it's that bond, it's that trust that the bird obviously thinks that there is no intention of capturing it from Frieren, which is exactly what I feel like is happening with the two mages that are kind of like the overall examiners of these exams, right? Because look at this. In the previous episode and in this episode, in episode 20 as well, you see them just casually with the birds. The birds know that these people, they're not a threat. You know what I mean? So on one hand, I do love that this shows you how much these first class mages, the ones who are the examiners, and how, just above they are against everybody else in terms of like mastery and in terms of how attuned they are with their powers, with their strengths. If the bird, the stele, sends its mana, then I think this is pretty much clear that these characters can also conceal their mana pretty well and effectively. And overall, just a great use of visual storytelling, because it's not like these two episodes explicitly tell us, the audience, that hey, these two characters, they know how to conceal a mana, or they know how to control it, or they know a certain way or a certain spell to attract the birds. No, they're just sitting here and then they're just letting the birds come to them, right? It's honestly just well done. Like, do I need an explanation for it? Not really, no, because this is all I need. Now, I do love this little bit of exchange between Yubel and Werbel here. German names. But the overall conversation and the fact that these two characters are kind of similar, right? I mean, these are two characters that kind of, they see themselves as powerful, as strong, but they're also kind of overconfident in their use of power and in their strengths. But obviously there is a bit of difference in terms of like their personality. Yubel here, she's how do I put this? She's unpredictable. Out of all of the characters that we've seen so far, I mean, the fact that her name pretty much translates to evil and bad, yeah. Now, it's not to say that she is evil in nature, but it's more so that she is a character that is more willing to kill than anybody else. Like, even, look at Denkin, for example. I mean, I talked about it before, but like, killing is like a last resort, right? It's always, it's good to talk about it first before ultimately resorting to, okay, let's just kill each other. Whereas with Evil, yeah, bandits in the streets, I'm gonna kill them. Who cares? I mean, obviously there are probably, ulterior motives. There's probably a reason why she's going for it. I mean, bandits being bandits. But it's a matter of, do they deserve to die? There comes the moral conundrum. But I think she is a really good balance throughout the entire cast of Frieren. Like, you need that character that is teetering in the moral scale, and one that will incite chaos and conflict within the story. Like, she is a troublemaker for the purposes of the story, and I think she is the perfect fit for the troublemaker. You always, I mean, look, trope-wise, we're in an exam, right? Not necessarily a tournament arc, but kind of, in the sense that this is an exam and we're trying to compete against each other in order to win, right? Now, there's going to be multiple winners, yes, but it's a matter of, okay, as long as we don't lose. It's not about winning, it's about not losing. Ubel is here to make sure a lot of these teams will lose. I mean, she almost succeeded with Werbel's team here, if not for the fact that, lucky him, a bird just kind of appears on the tree. Though, having said all that, I do think that they are able to catch the bird again because they weren't really looking for it. They just stumble upon it. So, again, I'm just kind of overreading it, but I do feel like there is that sense of, okay, if a bird can sense the fact that these characters are intent on getting it, then the bird will run away because the bird is smart. But if there is no intention to that, then the bird can just be as they are. You know what I mean? But going back to the Ubel and Werbel fight, animation-wise, pretty good. I don't think it's as flashy as previous animations go in terms of like fighting, but still decent enough and still, pretty well done in terms of like choreography and everything else. What I am interested is that conversation, as mentioned before, specifically when it comes to Warbal's past. I do like that he told us two different scenarios in regards to his past. There is the bleaker one that he told Yubel about his opponent, right? Almost a story that he almost basically meant as, to scare Ubel away, like, hey, back in the old days, back in my time, I was killing women and children specifically because they sent them to war, to scare us off. But I wasn't scared because I took them all head on, like, fear me, if you will. But when he was talking to his own members, he told us a far different story and pretty much a different vibe entirely, right? Here, we see him as basically like an up-and-coming hero, a character that is trying to be strong for a good reason, right? He's trying to, to impress and to charm a girl that he likes. Granted, it was like years and years and years ago. He doesn't even remember her name at this point, but I do love that we are shown this because it tells us about Warbel in a way. One, he is a character that will try to, scare away his opponents by any means necessarily, by not killing them, right? He had plenty of opportunities to kill Ubel during that entire fight, but he didn't. He didn't, right? And two, it is to show that deep down he is kind of a sweetheart. He is a soft person, right? He's masking it all through his masculinity and the fact that, he's strong, I have battle scars, like, and even his personality is kind of like, almost dickish in a way. But when he is with other characters that he, that he cares about, at least in this case with his team members, who obviously he needs to, to live and to survive this entire ordeal in order for them to win. But it is the fact that he is opening up about himself to these characters, and it's how he opens up himself to these other characters that intrigues me. Obviously, this episode pretty much just gave us a lot of character introductions, like proper character introductions. Like, we've seen these characters before in previous episodes, just from their designs and, just how they look, but not necessarily who they are as a person and like what their powers are and what their capabilities are. These two episodes, and I'm sure more to come, we're gonna be getting more and more intimate with these characters. Is it a bit overwhelming? Kind of, but ultimately it is nice to see who these characters are. We're basically setting these characters up, right? Because we're going to be spending a lot of time with these characters in the future. Obviously, it's the major exam. This is just the first one out of many. I mean, getting reminded of like Hunter x Hunter and how long that arc in the very beginning of the show is, when they're just, during the Hunter exam arc, we're going to be spending a lot of time with these characters. Obviously, we have the main group of people, but there's also going to be a bunch of other characters that will probably appear for only, 1, 2, 3 episodes, but still though, it's nice to see them, and sure enough, they're probably going to be appearing much later on within the show, within the story, so currently I'm just letting it all sink in. Though I do want to say that in terms of like the pacing and just the overall narrative structure of these two episodes, I don't know how I would feel if I was watching this week by week, weekly, like one episode per week, because I feel like after the previous episode and then the episode ends, I feel a bit dissatisfied. Like, no, that's it. Like, I need more. So I'm glad that I am watching 2 episodes for this, but I could imagine some people may not feel as satisfied with these episodes. I mean, even by the end of episode 20, right? Because we still end on a cliffhanger. It's just like it's very different from previous Frieren episodes. The closest that these set of episodes reminded me of is the very beginning of Frieren, where it's basically like a 4-episode premiere, and of course the episodes where we were dealing with the demons, because that's kind of like a set of episodes, a longer arc. But Frieren, for the most part, has always been single episodes concerning 2 different stories, right? So it is kind of almost jarring in a sense where we're actually getting like a long arc right now. But let the arc cook. And so far, minor criticisms and minor gripes aside, obviously I know like we're still in the setup phase, and it's hard to condense all of these story arcs that are long into like only 20 episodes. Like that's kind of hard to do. Which is, I mean, look, again, like I said, like I'm currently rewatching Hunter x Hunter, pretty much the same pace and vibe, basically, where we're spending like stretches of episodes. I mean, we're only 3 episodes in for Frieren, but it's a matter of, yeah, certain episodes will not feel satisfying on its own, but that's because these episodes are probably tied directly with the next episodes, All right, last but not least, let's talk about, what was her name again? Siri? Siri. German names. I apologize. It's the fact that these are German names being spoken in a Japanese dialect, and I'm trying to how to properly pronounce the names. Like, do apologize, but she's a character. We seen her in the first opening of the show, but we never really seen her during that stretch of Frieren, the story. But now we finally saw her. We're seeing her for the very first time here. Quite an interesting character indeed. I mean, obviously we know that she is an elf. Presumably one of the oldest characters in the world so far. I mean, the fact that they just said that she is the closest to the goddess herself. I mean, so obviously way more older than Frieren. So I do wonder, like, does Frieren know about her? Like, do they know each other in terms of, like, have they met before in the span of these thousands of years? And what is her relationship with Elfkind, I guess? Does she know about Flame, for example? Like, there's a lot of questions already in regards to, like, who she is and her past. Concerning Frieren, her, the story itself, obviously, I think we're probably gonna get that reveal much later on within the show. But a near walking grimoire, as they kind of describe her, and the shot of her just sitting right next to all the books, knowledge of the world, right, the history of the world, and the ultimate power that she has would be interesting. Especially for Frieren, as a person who kind of wants more, she's collecting these grimoires like the Infinity Stones because she wants to learn more. It's not even a quest or anything. No, it's just her hobby. Like, it's basically her hobby. She likes collecting knowledge. She likes collecting books. And I also wonder, because Frieren did mention this in episode 18. Was it 18 or 17? But at the start of this arc, at the start of this exam, Frieren talked about, like, yeah, she has been defeated multiple times before in the past by people who are probably not as powerful as she is, or at least characters who are not first class mages. There are some humans and monsters and and such. So I do wonder, is she one of them? Is she one of the people who was able to defeat Frieren in the past? Again, it doesn't have to be like a major conflict, or it's not like they have beef or anything. I mean, I don't know, but it could just be a friendly competition. It could just be like they just met it and they want to test their skills. Who knows? But let's put a pin on that, because out of every character introduced so far, she kind of fits the bill in terms of, like, characters who potentially have met Frieren in the past and probably had a fight with her. I mean, from her look, her gesture, the way she's sitting here, on her, I guess, throne, if you will, she does have that smug vibe of, like, yeah, I know everything about the world. Yeah, I'm the smartest. I'm probably the strongest. People reveal me as like a god, even though I'm not a god. But does she know about the goddess? Has she met the goddess? I don't know. So many questions, as I mentioned, but not a lot of info for me to immediately latch onto, like who she is as a person. So we're just basically, this is basically, surface level analyzing who she is. So there is that. Interesting pendant as well. I think that's pretty much it, actually. So yeah, overall, really nice set of episodes for Frieren, because we are still in the exams, still in the first phase of the exams, and many more will come. And I feel like the more we take the exams, the more crazy and over the top it may be. So curious to see where we go in the future. Hope you guys enjoy my reaction and my review. If you do, hit like, subscribe to the video, and I will see you all next time for the next episode of Frieren. Take care, everybody. Have a nice day. Peace.